What?
Oh.
What?
Should be on now.
Yeah, you're just gonna mute that. Can you hear us now? Whoa.
Now we can. Okay, we're good now. I want to know who the fuck requested Withered by Dream Theater. It has to be by one of their worst songs by far.
There is, but it's low. Okay. Is this better? Can you hear us better
up
now?
to 720.
Yes. Yep. So that's better? Good. All right. We're good. Did we have a theme for tonight?
Nope.
No theme.
Nope. I'm sure the Trump thing's going to come up.
Cheers from Costa Rica.
What's going on?
My aunt's in Costa Rica.
What's up, BM fan?
Damage
Dream Theater has a cover of Damaging. That's a Metallica song.
Oh.
Yikes. Cheers from Bavaria. That's crazy. What's up, Bavaria? There's a guy at the very, very beginning of all this that lived in, like, it was like a Russian, some sort of Slavic nation or something.
Oh, really?
I promised him a shirt.
You did?
Yeah. If I can find that guy, I want to send him a shirt. Would love some more Ghost.
It beers up. I wanted to get some.
I wish I had.
I didn't have time to get to the store.
What? Some more beer?
I want to get some mics.
What part?
I don't know which part she's in. I know she's doing like missionary work there, working with children.
Oh yeah, suffering for the Lord in Costa Rica. Dream Theater covered the entire Master Puppets record. That's crazy. When's the next?
Yeah, we haven't had a Blackfire show in a while.
I think it's supposed to be.
Opeth first.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be Waters of Vain, but I guess we have to do OTEP.
Opeth.
Will
Opeth.
your conversation with Aaron Ra be on YouTube or elsewhere? Yeah, we're so for $5 patrons and above, they're gonna get the entire 2.5 hours, just the straight, and then for our $1 patrons, we're gonna stagger it over 2 weeks, and then eventually we're gonna release the whole thing. It's a two-parter to our channel. I think we'll probably release it sooner. I probably don't have the discipline to do it like that. We can do without Opeth. I agree. I would prefer OTEP over Opeth. Also agree.
That's fine. I liked it, and I'm hoping for another one soon.
Downward Spiral, as in the entire record?
Look, people keep asking, do I have to pay for a request? And if so, how much? We're having like moral dilemma with that.
Yeah, I'm having a real moral crisis with paying for
requests.
Because like when you look at Sori's original list, it's like we've got stuff from like way back in the day that hasn't been done. And I just feel terrible for people that have asked for it, and because they're not in a financial situation. But, I don't know. It's still something I'll have to find a way to reconcile within myself in order to make that happen. I mean, the closest thing I could come with is there's that review a song with Vin and Sori option. And I would say if you paid the amount to review a song with us, we'll let you choose a song. That's the only way, like, right now I can reconcile it. I've got some cognitive dissonance. I'll probably work it out. It's probably false guilt. Who knows?
Capitalism.
What did Troy say? Capitalism. What up, G?
Yeah. I think, well...
Yeah, Sola Fide after Waters of Vain. That's my plan. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just think, well, everything that we want, we have to pay for to be able to get. And so, I mean, you put a quarter in the jukebox. But then I'm like, and then I'm like, yeah, but what if some people can't afford it? And then I'm like, yeah, but they can still enjoy the music that comes out. Like, it doesn't have to be, And then how much would it even be? Like $5? Like, who can't afford $5 if they really want to? You know what I'm saying?
Then why? No, I don't think it would be $5 because we've got patrons.
I know everybody would be.
We've got patrons. Yeah. We've got 20 patrons at $5.
Right. That's true.
So,
yeah, it'd have to be more than that.
So you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's a real and there's people that would love to give us $5 but can't, and they've got requests from 2 months ago.
How do you know they can't?
They can't.
How do you know? You're just making these assumptions.
Thanks, Brian.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I'll have like a moral a meeting of the minds. Alec.
When are you gonna react to Sorjan I don't know, Demi Bajor? I've been Yeah, you have been requesting it for ages. Demi Bajor, or whatever. I don't know why we haven't done that. 1349.
I don't even know what 1349 is, bro.
What the hell does that need?
Is the info for review a song on your website? We're trying to move it. We have 2 options on Patreon that are just ridiculous. There's a $75 and $100 option that I just want to move from that to a one-time giving thing. And so that's going to go to the website. I haven't talked to Mark. I think he's been avoiding me all day because we've been going after him every day.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to do the website launch, and he's like, leave. Let me
have some time with my family.
Yeah.
Well, if I could, I'd give you $1 million so you could just do this full time. Oh, that would be nice.
Salam alaikum, ya Victor. Who said that?
Gonzalez.
Oh.
Ray Gonzalez.
Yeah, I mean, Ray, we're going to get there eventually, full time.
Every time somebody, puts in $1 on Patreon, I'm like, yes, we're one step closer, one step closer.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I will say this much, we're ahead of schedule, so that makes me very thankful. But yeah, I'm definitely itching to go full time. I mean, I was flirting with it. Right now, it could be doable. We could do it right now, but it would be extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
And
we've got 4 kids. I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm kind of like hey, let's do it. Let's jump off a bridge with a parachute. It'll work. It's a plastic bag. And Sori's more like, no. So.
No, I used to be like that, but something about having kids changes you.
Yeah. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness and made me run to the other end of God and lose my faith. I found you guys in the last month, and for the first time in a long time, I see some light.
Ooh, that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for telling us that.
Appreciate you. Yes, McReady, there are plans for a full anime album review. So it's kind of weird because I want to do album reviews and Tool is like the most requested album review band. We stay away from Tool until we do a record review, and then people go, "All you guys do is Tool. This entire channel
got so mad at
is
them,
devoted to Tool." Yeah, it was insane. World Cup. I'm going for my man Ronaldo. I love Ronaldo. I love him. I think he's like the most underrated star of our era. And a lot of people how could you say he's underrated? But for people to say that Messi is better than him means to me that he's underrated.
Bring the memes. What's up? The way that the review a song is currently set up, it's pretty steep and ridiculous, but we weren't sure how many people were going to be interested, so we just put it high. It's actually $100 and you review the song with us. You go on chat with us, so we're going to come up on it, and then you're going to come up on it. Like how we do the interviews. So then the song will come on, and then we'll review it together. So it's a one-time $100 thing for that.
So...
on Skype? No, we have a program.
We have a program called
We just send you the link,
Central.
and then you click on the link and come to us.
What denomination of Christianity are you? We don't really have a denomination. We're the Follow Jesus denomination the best we can. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Have you guys heard of Inquisition? No, but that sounds very interesting. Alcest. Now, is that Alcest or Alchest or what? Alchest? How does it sound? Somebody spell it out phonetically. You didn't answer my question in a previous stream about cursing as a Christian. I never curse and would like your view on it.
I think technically we shouldn't do it. Because my thought is there's a verse in the Bible that says that you're supposed to say things that are edify and build people up. And I think that cursing can actually not build people up. So I think probably we shouldn't be doing it, but I don't know. I think I'm still in the...
If I'm talking to somebody, I was talking to somebody yesterday actually, and he sent me a clip of his band.
Yep.
And I said, you're a bad motherfucker. And he goes, you made my day.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So like, did that tear him down or build him up?
No, that built him up. But when you're on a thing where you're talking to thousands of people, you know what I'm saying? Like, you probably got the feel for the guy and knew that was going to be okay to say.
I didn't get any feel from him.
Like, I mean, if you said to my sister, you're a bad motherfucker, I think that would insult
I wouldn't say
her.
that to your sister.
Because you got a feel for her. But when you're talking to thousands of people and you can't get a feel for anybody...
Well, it's a metal channel, babe.
True.
I mean, it's metal. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're definitely torn about it. I
Keep cursing, please. It'll make me happy. Makes me happy.
See? For Zap, it builds him up. So,
right.
Like, for example... You know, we have songs talking about the bloody cross, right? The bloody cross. And in the UK, the term bloody is like the F-bomb. So, should you not sing that song in the UK? Well, no, you shouldn't. Because contextually in the culture, it means they wouldn't be able to get past it and enter into a state of worship. So words are... evolve over time, like, and I think it's Romeo and Juliet, the term marry, M-A-R-R-Y, is actually a curse word in Romeo and Juliet. Bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so marry is used as a curse word. So, like, you know, a lot of it is contextual and a lot of it is cultural. So that's kind of my answer to that
Did you see this one? Are you guys familiar with spiral dynamics? I've been atheist since my late teens, and spiral dynamics has brought me together with my parents who are pastors. Do charity work with my mom.
Never heard of spiral dynamics. Would love to hear what that is.
What do you think of mosh pits? I have never been in a mosh pit, but I think it looks really fun.
Mosh pits are fun. I never really took part in them because the major concerts I went to, I always wanted to be in the front row because I was... pretty obsessed with meeting my band, so like now I'm down. At the same
time, I'm not sure if I would like a mosh pit. I think I might get annoyed with people bumping into me. You know,
so this is how I ran into my friends from Slipknot and all that good jazz. So yeah, I think mosh pits are cool.
Okay.
Hey,
how
Jay,
old are these two?
No comment.
Why?
No, I'm not gonna say. We're going to leave it mysterious.
Okay.
We'll probably do a concert.
Okay. I have a religious question. How can prophecy and free will coexist? I always ask, and no one gives me a logical answer. R.J. McReady.
Well, MacReady, I don't believe in what's known as libertarian free will. It's interesting. I was listening to, I don't know, you might have heard this. It was Jordan Peterson and Matt Dillahunty were having a discussion. Matt Dillahunty is the atheist. And he says he's not a libertarian, he's a compatibilist.
Oh,
which
really?
Is extremely interesting. So,
well, can you define that for our listeners?
There's two basic general understandings of free will or the will. One is called libertarianism, which easily defined is the will to act or act otherwise. So it's this idea that you're kind of like in this neutral state, and then you can choose however you want to choose. And compatibilist says, no, your will is constrained by your desires, and your desires is constrained by your nature. So a quick question would be, do you have the freedom to sprout wings and fly away? Well, no, you don't have, even though you may want to fly away. We listen to a lot of songs where people say they want to fly away, but your desire to fly away, it's constrained by the fact that your nature is limited. And so the will is limited by the nature of the human being. On top of that, there's the idea that God prophesies something means, because I look at God as literally, my view of God and the world is that God is a great author and he's writing this story. So all the mundane parts of life as well as the major events, because the major events are just simply an accumulation of trillions of small events, right? Like all of us right now are in this room because of trillions of little mundane events that brought us all here together at the same time. And major events, like my mom basically kidnapping me and my brother from Jamaica to America. If that never happened, we wouldn't have been here, and all the rest of it. So anyway, long story short, God is an author. We're the characters in the play. Insofar as the story goes, we do what we want to do. But as far as the author goes, he wrote the story. And so The technical term for that is concurrence, but that's kind of my answer to the question. I don't believe in the modern or popular understanding of free will. I don't believe that people are, make totally independent decisions. I don't believe that. I think you left out open theism. I did leave out open theism because he talked about prophecy, and so I don't think open theism can stay consistent within itself in regards to definitive prophecy. Try base jumping. You'll feel the feeling of flight. Well, the only reason you'll feel that is because you don't have wings. That's why. But I actually do want to try base jumping at some point in my life.
What is that? What's base jumping?
So life is like goosebumps, and you can choose which turn to take.
Can somebody tell me what base jumping is, since Vin is ignoring me?
What do you mean?
What is base jumping? Yes.
Oh, you just jump off a bridge.
What?
I already talked about that. You jump off a bridge, but you got the bungee cord tied to you.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh, it's bungee jumping?
Yeah.
Oh. Jeez, somebody else got their nose broken at the Metallica Suicidal Tendencies concert.
Scientifically and biologically, we know at the very least compatibilism and determinism is correct. Yeah, BM fan, I had this conversation with Alec, my biologist, geneticist friend or whatever, and he confirmed the same thing. For Jesus to receive true love, which is what he is desiring for us, is to us our free will to choose. That is true love. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when Augustine was battling with Pelagius in the 4th century, that was one of Pelagius's arguments. Of course, if you accept the doctrine of original sin, which I think is clearly taught in the Scripture, then it's impossible to start with a libertarian understanding of free will, because you didn't choose to be born in sin. So
it's not bungee jumping. You jump with a parachute. Look, there was another one over here. I can't find it now. Why do people say you'll go to hell if you don't read the King James Version?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Hey, Cassandra.
Yeah, the King James only stuff is it's a curious development in really American Christianity. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've sat and listened to hours of these people lecture, and there really isn't even something where I could say, look, this is what they believe in, blah. Like, I can tell you what a Muslim believes, I can tell you what a Catholic believes, I can tell you what an atheist believes, but the King James only stuff, especially the extreme version, I mean, the closest I can come is that they believe that the English King James Bible is literally the voice of God, and if you're not attracted to King James Bible, that means you're not attracted to the voice of God, which means that you're not a child of God, right?
Right here.
And somebody said,
"Well, the thing. So Chinese and Russians go to hell because they can't read King James English."
Well, so I listened to a radio show one time, and the guy made that argument, and then the person said, well, if they were really devoted to God, they learn English. So, and
that's ridiculous.
And keep in mind, King James, it's Elizabethan English. It's not even
right. It's not even regular.
It's a very
English.
high form of English. So, I mean, a lot of English speakers can't even understand the King James, much less, So it's
this is so funny.
Very ethnocentric way of looking at the world.
So one person is saying, "So you guys are Christians?" A bunch of question marks, and then another person right above, "You guys are my role models as Christians."
Yeah, so I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, yes, and the other hand, I'm like, oh. Yeah, we're pretty hardcore Christians, for sure.
Do you guys ever celebrate Christmas? Oh, I love Christmas. It's my favorite. He's like, nah, with Christmas. Although last year you enjoyed the tree after it was up and the lights and
hey,
the experience.
Thank you, Cassandra, for wishing me a happy Father's Day
to you. Tons of people have been saying.
Oh.
Is it officially?
I've been looking into the camera.
Is it officially that time? It is. Happy Father's Day, Vin.
Your thoughts on deism? Yeah, deism is such a strange idea to me. That God would just kind of like wind the thing up and then float away. He's got other stuff to do. Yeah, so it's a strange idea to me.
No, I hate Halloween. Literally hate Halloween. I saw that video about what the things that happen at Halloween. Whether it was true or not, I don't know, but I don't want to take that chance. And honestly, when you go around and you look at all the costumes and everything, there's so like death, 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 death. So I'm like, nah. But what about you? You'd rather celebrate Halloween than Christmas?
Well, the thing about celebrating Halloween for me is, like, I just don't trust people. So, like, you figure for 364 days, we tell our kids not to take candy from strangers.
I know.
And then it's like the purge. Like, don't kill anybody except for this day. And don't take candy from the street. We just had this conversation with the kids. And then we're like, oh, yeah, go for it. Take candy from as many strangers as you like. Oh, so you'd
let him do it if you brought him to the mall and let him get a bunch of candy from the mall and dress up?
Well, it's corny because it's all in one place. The whole fun of it is just to go.
Are you kidding me? They'd love it. It's not corny. They'd be getting tons of candy.
Our kids are watching Attack on Titan and all that shit. I mean, people.
I know. I brought our youngest daughter to the store and I was like, "Oh, look at this My Little Pony." She's like, "Yeah, I'm not really into that anymore." I'm like, "What? Why?" And she's like, "Well, because I've been watching Attack on Titan, so I'd rather that." Look at this one. Vin, your beliefs are very clear, but what's your favorite argument from an atheist point of view? Tumbia. Something. Tumbia is the person's name. I don't read all that.
What's my favorite atheist argument? Well, I don't have any. Otherwise, I'd be an atheist.
Yeah, but you must have one that you think is... That's a pretty good argument. You can still debunk it, but yeah.
I think questioning... the difficulty of reconciling God being a God of love and the concept of hell, I think, is a difficult issue. And I think if we're being honest, I was surprised that Arn didn't go in that direction.
Yeah, I know.
He kind of went in that direction, but he kind of made my argument for me because he described being in heaven with God as a terrifying Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
So that pretty much made my argument for me.
Have you ever heard of a heavy metal pastor, Bob Beeman?
No.
Me neither. Atheists on YouTube. Yeah, don't say.
Spontaneous question, like Varg being prejudiced but not hateful. Is there a legitimate form of anti-Semitism or is it all stupid? Anti-Semitism, by definition to me, is a flawed ideology because from my perspective in the world, we're all image bearers of God. And so to hate any human being is to hate God and then by extension hate yourself. So it's a self-defeat. It's not just stupid. It's a self-destructive idea. So.
Oh my gosh!
What?
What their name means in Spanish? The one I didn't pronounce. Okay.
Okay, Tumba.
There was one up here.
Yeah, Rico, I agree. I mean, there's got to be justice for sure. There isn't a single recorded case of anyone drugging or tampering with candy. I don't believe that.
I don't either.
It's like billions and billions of pieces of candy. I mean, I just, you know.
I'd never relax as a mom with them having a pie.
I don't trust people.
Can you push over a little bit? I wouldn't be able to relax. I want to see them enjoy their candy.
You believe we have a destiny. I believe that. Yes, I do. Well, of course, Rico, it absolutely explains hell, but I also think that there are just some existential difficulties with the concept. I think there's a lot of things that we can accept, like, mentally just through cognition and a mathematical formula. But when you get down to the actual reality of what you're saying is happening, I think it causes, at least for me, the concept of eternal hell causes me a ton of difficulty. Just for me, anyway. I mean, I can argue for it, I can defend it, and all that good jazz, but it's just a difficult concept for me.
Weird. Do you think people who go through a sex change and are not sorry for it have a chance to be in heaven?
Sure.
There was a one up here. What was this one?
The Church is Israel. I agree. Some lady gave
I
me
know, that's the
open
one I
candid
responded
and
to.
poured it down the manhole. Good on you.
When is Sparky's birthday?
Uh,
Sparky's birthday is a year from when we did the Lateralis live listen.
Right.
Because that's when he got unboxed and turned on.
Personally, I believe these ancient beliefs originally created to control large groups of people with fear. Back then, don't apply to modern-day humans, but I can understand the message. Well, Epic Pablo, the problem with that idea is that especially the doctrine of Christianity made the Christians the exact opposite. They were completely uncontrollable to Roman society. They would not burn incense to Caesar. They wouldn't declare him to be Lord, and that's why the state turned against them in droves, because they were the complete opposite. They were people that couldn't be controlled. So I've heard that before, that religion, Christianity was designed to keep people in control, but that's a post Constantinian Christianity, where Christianity had the power of the sword and political influence. That is not, if you look at Christianity in China right now, that was pretty much the state of Christianity during its inception. So the Romans already had enough control with polytheism and Zeus and emperor worship. Christianity caused an extreme problem for them.
So Jared said, why do you think so many people defeat depression after turning to Christianity?
Why do people defeat depression after?
Why do you think a lot of people? You're sitting at two people that haven't defeated depression. So
yeah, I'm not a good subject for that.
I will say that the only thing that seems to help me long term wise is figuring out my issues with God's help. Like I said, how the other morning, I was oh my gosh, when I wake up, I'm oh, you're a terrible person, blah, blah, blah. Then I'll start thinking well, no, I mean, God made me and he knows I'm a terrible person, but he's, he still loves me and wants to know me and wants me to know him. So
yeah, and I think overcoming, I do think we've overcome depression though, because we don't stay in our bed all day.
Yeah,
it doesn't dominate us.
Yeah.
I think the idea that there's a couple things for me about Christianity and depression that are unique to Christianity. One is the idea that God himself struggled with depression, right? Because Jesus is God in the flesh, and it says that he's a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And it says that he bore our sorrows. Not only that he bore our sin, but he also carried our sorrows. So the idea that God could, literally say to me, I know how you feel, in an existential way, I think is extremely comforting as a Christian. And then this concept of the Holy Spirit, who is sort of the essence of God, who travels with you, who speaks to you constantly and says, come on, man, get up. You got to, let's go. We got something to do today. I think helps with being able to overcome, depression. I shared this in the Anthrax video. I spent a lot of time when I was 18 on a mental institution, and there was a lot of, I'm being very careful about how I say this, because I'm saying this is my experience. I'm not saying that anybody should do this, but I was diagnosed with major depression and a couple other things, and anxiety and all this, and I had a laundry list of medications, and they tell you when you're about to get out of the hospital, they say, look, we're letting you out because you're balanced out, your levels are good and all this, and you're going to feel like you're okay, stay on your meds. This is one of the biggest things. They're like, this is the quickest way back in here is if you get off your meds. And I remember, getting out and about to fill my prescription, and I distinctly heard God say, you don't need to do that, and I haven't since 18 years old till now. That's my experience. It's not everyone's experience, and I have battled with bouts of depression, some worse than others, but never again at the level that I had when I was going through that situation. Sometimes if I really get knocked over by it, it'll be like a day or two or three, and then I'll get out of it. But that's my specific experience, and it doesn't mean you're not spiritual if you're on medication. So I always hesitate to tell that story because people always take that in the wrong direction. I have a very, very important person in my life who I recommended you really, really need to get on your meds, and we finally were able to convince her to get on meds, and I'm very happy and grateful for that. So I'm just talking about my personal experience. So there you go.
Right.
Somebody asked if evangelicals are weaponizing the Bible. Of course they are. Of course they are. This whole thing. Look, I've said positive things about Trump. I've said negative things about Trump, right? I'm just calling it like I see it in the individual moment. But this whole thing where we're separating kids from their parents, putting kids in cages or whatever it is, that's just fucked up entirely. Like, I don't care what anybody says. And for somebody to quote the Bible, I think Jeff Sessions tried to quote Romans 13 when, it says submit to the government and blah, 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 to justify them ripping these kids from their parents and putting them in cages.
It's disgusting.
Of course, what Sessions doesn't tell people when he quotes that passage is that the government at the time was Nero, who was chopping Christians up, sending them to be fed to the lions. It was a completely evil person, and many Christians, including us too, believes is the actual beast of Revelation 13. So if you're using Romans 13 to justify the bullshit that Trump is doing, you basically just called him the Antichrist. Yeah, Christians absolutely weaponize the Bible. And you know what else? They weaponize people's ignorance of the Bible. Like, what I just told you is accessible to everybody, but they're weaponizing the idea that Christians are going to be ignorant of the Bible. And one could argue that evangelicals were very instrumental in putting Trump in office. So what does that tell you about their knowledge of the Bible?
The memes person, Bring Me the Memes, said I learned more from you guys than I do from my church. It's interesting.
Thanks, big guy.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen Blade Runner. I want to see it.
We saw Blade Runner.
I saw Blade Runner?
Yeah, we saw
yeah, but I didn't see the whole thing. Like, you threw me somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't see it.
No, I didn't throw you in the middle. We watched it from start to finish.
There's like 4 of them, right?
Blade Runner? No.
There's only one?
No, there's only one. Well, there was a remake. We saw the modern remake.
No. I don't remember it. Sorry.
It was forgettable.
Okay, well.
The new Blade Runner we saw. Sound is a bit low. We saw the new Blade Runner.
Is that better? Does it sound better?
2049 is what we saw.
I can't stop listening to that Disturbed song. And when it's not playing, I'm hearing it in my head. No, I've never heard of Holy Mountain. Have you? Watch the original. It's amazing. The new Blade Runner is not a remake.
Oh, yeah, he's right. It's not.
It's so weird when people correct you and they're right and you're wrong.
Slave
Sounds
labor.
The same.
Yeah, really? I love Slave Labor. I love that record. My brother bought that for me on Christmas.
Don't mean to be offensive, guys. This is blazing heat. But why the most ignorant Christians are always Americans? What? Is it true? Is it true? That's hilarious sounding either way.
I love when people are like, I don't want to be offensive.
You know something's about to come. That's why I was like,
moron.
What?
But I mean, all I can speak about is our backyard, and it's really true. I mean, you know.
Shame.
Hey, Hecata's Mayor, thanks for the FB heads up. Yeah. What's up with that? I was looking for you. You didn't show up. Do you believe you have to be baptized? I believe you should be baptized if you want to follow Jesus. You know, it's one of those, it's a public declaration. You gotta understand what baptism was in the first century. You know, John the Baptist was baptizing people. It was actually a Jewish ritual that was given to non-Jews, and it was basically like you had to wash yourself of your nasty non-Jewishness to join our little circle. And so when Jesus was saying, no, all of you have to be baptized, it meant that all of us were nasty, not just, some of the chosen people are pure and clean. And then, so baptism meant a lot back in the day. And on top of that, you were publicly identifying it would be like, if ISIS took over the world or America or your little town, and then you decide you're gonna stand up and be publicly counted as a Christian. Like that was an extremely dangerous thing to do. On top of that, it could get you kicked out of your family and all the rest of it. So, like, now there aren't the heavy implications of what baptism means to the original audience. But for the original audience, it was really a marker of, like, are you willing to go all in for this thing or not? Now we're kind of looking at it as this, like, oh, yeah, whatever, I'll get baptized. So I believe that it's your faith in Christ that saves you, not baptism. At the same time, I do think it's a beautiful thing to do, not only to obey Christ, but to also identify with our brothers and sisters from thousands of years ago who've paid the ultimate price for their faith, and then raising up and saying, okay, I'm going to be part of a new world. I'm going to be part of bringing in, making this world the place that it was supposed to be made originally. So that's what baptism means for me. So if you follow Jesus and you haven't done it, I do believe you definitely should do it, but that's not going to decide whether or not you're in or out. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, they should wait till they're older when they can understand what they're doing.
I bet, who was the youngest? 4? Was she 4?
She was 3.
3. She had a general understanding of what she was doing. I'm not with the whole we're gonna dunk a baby thing who doesn't know what she's doing. That comes from the idea that the baptism has some sort of saving effect. I don't believe that. It's your faith in Christ that has a saving effect. The baptism is sort of like a wedding ceremony, right? Like when you love somebody, you already love them, you're already in a relationship with them. The wedding ceremony is sort of your public declaration that you're...
Troy Lightfoot. Hello, I'd like to do the $100 reaction with you guys on Patreon, but only if I can choose the song. In fact, 2 for $200.
Okay, Troy, hit us up on Vin and Sori at gmail.com, please. We can't charge this guy $200. Talk to Sori, because I'll just give everything away for free, and then she's going to be mad at me. So talk to Sori. She'll look out for that email.
We're already selling our shirts for way cheaper and doing free shipping. Why are you trying to give stuff away?
Thanks, Falling Dove. That's such a cool name, too, Falling Dove. A lot of connotations. A lot of love from India. Love you, too. Love you, too. Sori is the capitalist. She is absolutely the capitalist.
Yeah, but I'm going to help this. I'm going to help us go full-time sooner.
Her and O'Connell. O'Connell wants to charge people $500 for the... You guys are killing me. Silent Planet, that's coming up. Do you guys play video games? We play Gear of Wars. Zoroastrianism is a, pretty sure they're a monotheistic religion as well. And Muhammad makes some allusions to Zoroastrianism in the Quran and the Hadith. Very interesting stuff.
What do we like to do when we're away from here? Vin just works. That's like all he does. And then he plays football with the kids. I like to get out and be in nature and be in the woods and stuff like that. I love that. But I also like pedicures.
When are you gonna have God on one of your streams? Astaghfirullah. He's here now.
Yeah.
Mark 16:16. I can't wait to start your art, by the way. Yeah, hurry up with that, please. Yeah. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. Well, not important. What's interesting about that text is he doesn't say the condemnation it doesn't say anything about the baptism. The condemnation is about your belief, which I agree with. It's about whether or not you believe.
Really? Cross-country biking? Mountain biking? Cross-mountain biking. Cross-country mountain biking. Yeah, that does sound fun. I'd need a nice bike that is comfortable, though.
Do you think it's un-American to like soccer? I was just showing Sori the Ronaldo bicycle
Yeah, that was
kick.
crazy.
He's such a bad man. As I Lay Dying released a statement. You should watch it. Yeah,
Mr. Scarred has a good one too, or Scarred. I don't know.
We need to have a discussion with that about. First, we need to have a discussion about As I Lay Dying and the whole situation, and two, we need to hopefully get in contact with Lambesis.
Did you see his? Shoot.
Jesus turning water into wine isn't very impressive.
No, it's this one.
Hold on. I think Ben.
I can too if I let it ferment.
I can turn water into wine too if I'm willing to wait for the grapes to ferment. Well, I think it was him speeding up the process that was miraculous.
Right.
Ben. So if a person is selfless and good their entire life but aren't Christians, they still go to hell. Yeah, I think this is kind of like, I really wanted Aaron to get into this part of it, but he never did. If you look at heaven and hell as heaven is a place where good people go, hell is a place where bad people go, then that I can see why that question is relevant. If you look at the question as heaven is a place where people who want to be with Jesus go, and hell is a place where people who are not interested in a relationship with Jesus exist, then the question becomes different. Because, as I said earlier about the baptism question, heaven, and I'm not really a big heaven guy, but let's talk about it because we have that structure in our mind. But heaven is the reason a place is because of the people in it, right? So like home is here because Sori's here, right? That's the only reason home is home. If Sori's here and my kids are here, that's the only reason home is home. Last week I was in a hotel getting concussed, but for the short time that we were there, home was there because that's where Sori and the kids were. So to be away from Sori and the kids for a person who loves them is hell, right? And so to home or heaven is heaven by definition only because Jesus is there for us. If you're not interested in having a relationship with Jesus, then you go into a dimension where he is not. And from our perspective, just objectively speaking, an existence without Jesus is hellish. And I don't think any of us understand the implications, at least from a Christian perspective, of what that means, right? So the question of whether or not, I'm sure you're a selfless person. I'm sure Aaron is Aaron, we talked for 2.5 hours. He was extremely generous with his time. Really, really good guy. Has no interest in being with Jesus at all. And so he actually said, being with Jesus would be like a terrifying Twilight Zone episode or something like that, right? So when he dies, he wants to be, he's basically electing to be in a dimension outside of the presence of Christ. And I just don't think that that's a very good existence. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's heavy metal in heaven? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could show you definitive proof. Yeah. Do I believe dinosaurs are millions of years old? Yes. Opinion on Jeff 7 using Romans 13 to justify removing immigrant children. Alex, I talked about that about 20 minutes ago. I think it's evil, and honestly, the implications of that are that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. I'm not saying he's the Antichrist. I'm saying, if he's trying to use Romans 13 to justify doing that to those kids, he's essentially calling Donald Trump the Antichrist. And my logic was, Romans 13 was written to Christians who were being persecuted by Caesar Nero, who was a terrible individual. He would have Christians killed. He would set them on fire. He'd do all types of evil shit to them. And so Paul was saying, look, you guys... And at the time, there were factions within the world that was saying we need to take up arms against the government. And Paul was discouraging that with everything he could. He's like, no, we're not taking arms against the government. That's not our game. We don't do that. And so what he was saying was, submit to the government. God's got him in there for a reason. Endure the persecution. Eventually, he's going to give you relief. Later on, John writes the book of Revelation. And a lot of Christians believe, including Sori and I, that the book of Revelation, the beast, the Antichrist, the 666 guy in Revelation is actually talking about Nero, and it's actually showing about how God is going to destroy Nero and relieve the Christians of persecution. So my whole point is, if you want to use Romans 13 to justify doing all this evil shit to these little kids and their parents, and all of us by extension, because we're all in this nation and we all now have a part in it because of what these guys are doing, then you're basically saying that Trump is the Antichrist. So I think it's a terrible, terrible misuse of the Bible. One of the worst, honestly, one of the worst I've seen in my short sojourn on this planet. Put it that way. Obama sucked too. I agree. I think there are things that Obama did that were not good that I can't support. I talked about it in the Holy War video. Obama droned and killed more people than Bush did. And you can check out Jamal L. Thomas's. He's a progressive leftist, not a Christian guy at all. And even he said that Obama was horrible for the world. He did terrible things, war crime things. And so, yeah. I mean, I'm not a politician. When a person does good, I'll say they did good. The Kim Jong-un thing, that's hopeful. I think it's a good direction. This thing that we're doing with kids, and I don't even want to hear about the Democrats that I don't care. You're in power now. You have the power to stop it. Put that shit to rest right now. We shouldn't do that to kids. Sorry.
People want to know what's wrong with Catholicism. And also, how do you feel about extreme manifestations of faith being expressed? Things like crucifying themselves or the how do you say that?
Flagellations was some Muslims doing during Ashura. Yeah. So the Shia do that to express mourning because of the death of Ali. And people crucifying themselves. I don't believe that that's actually an expression of faith. To me, that is an expression of a lack of faith. Let me try to explain. The ideology of Jesus' death on the cross is that he suffered, he bore the wrath of God and all the wrath of human sinfulness so that we wouldn't have to. And so the idea is that think of the worst thing you've ever done in your entire life and how guilty you feel and how the secrets that you have and the terrible thoughts that you have that nobody knows, that you would die before got out. Like there's some people that like kill themselves before having to face like some horrible secret coming out of their lives, right? So think about that. And the idea is whatever wrath or whatever was supposed to come upon you for that, Jesus stood in front of that and took that for you. So if that's true, and if I really believe that, the idea of crucifying myself then is to say that what Jesus did wasn't enough. So it's actually an expression of a lack of faith in what he did, right? And so I look at that stuff as a lack of faith, and I don't think it's healthy. I'm not judging those people in the sense of I don't know what's going on with their motives, whether they're pure or not. But to me, it's like it's either you don't understand the message or you do understand it, but you just can't believe it can be that simple. If that makes any sense. I think my biggest secret is sniffing. I'm not even going to finish that sentence.
It was gross.
On theistic preterism, I'm a theistic preterist, so yeah, I'm good with that.
Did you see that Cassandra said that her hubby let their daughter go to vacation Bible school? He's opened up more since.
Who said that?
Cassandra said, and now her daughter's asking for a Bible.
Whoa. Pink Floyd review. We're about to do a video pretty soon to announce when we're going to do the Pink Floyd review. Can I have some of those cheese sticks?
Oh, I didn't think you would eat it during this. Of course.
I'm a bit thirsty.
Okay, I'll have a drink.
Later church is church now not taking the Bible literally. Yeah, Aaron, I thought it was a good joke. Well, there are lots of parts of the Bible that you just know intuitively are not supposed to be taken literally. For example, when you have a lamb, in the throne room of heaven in Revelation 5, you automatically know that that's a metaphor for Jesus. Jesus is standing in the throne room of heaven because he's called the Lamb and all the rest of it. When it talks in the Psalms about the trees clapping their hands, you don't take that literally. So, the science of Bible interpretation, the goal is to find out the overarching message. And God, the term Bible basically means library. It's a library of books. And, some books are just historical. This is why people don't like the book of Numbers, because it's just a historical book. So-and-so and so-and-so and so. It's a census, right? And people don't like that book because it's like, ugh, this is boring. Where's the good stuff? And those are things that you take literally. And there's other portions of the Bible where, a beast is coming out of the sea and ruling the world. Well, I mean, obviously an animal is not ruling the world.
Seriously, Aaron Ra's on here?
By the way, my name is pronounced as you were pronouncing Aaron Ra. No, I think he's saying that's not Aaron Ra. That's Aaron Stollard, but he's saying you're supposed to pronounce the name that way.
Oh, because he had said before it was weird to hear you saying his name. Okay.
Yeah, that's Aaron Ra has better things to do than hang out in our chat room. Believe me. Would I say the Bible is superior to the Quran? Of course, I'm a Christian. So yes, I believe the Bible is superior to the Quran. If I thought that they were equal, or if I thought that the Quran was, I would be a Muslim. AR-15. Do I? You own an AR-15? Very good. Yeah, I don't know where the 6,000-year-old Earth thing came from. I'm still trying to figure that out. I could never understand that. What's your take on Leviticus? I think Leviticus has some very interesting. The term "love your neighbor as yourself" didn't originate in
Vin for president. No way. I want him around me.
I'd be a terrible president. The term "love your neighbor as yourself" didn't originate with Jesus. It actually originated in Leviticus. So Leviticus is awesome.
People want to hear you play your guitar.
Jesus dying for your sins, does it take away your responsibility? You can do anything as long as you believe. No. Jesus dying for your sins doesn't mean you can do anything as long as you believe, because so I'm a Trinitarian. I believe the Trinity works together when you're talking about saving somebody. So the Father chooses, and he comes up with the entire plan. The Son executes the plan by dying, and then the Holy Spirit comes and applies the plan. And basically what I mean by applies the plan is that he goes into our hearts and changes our hearts. And so the first thing that happens with a changed heart is that you believe in Jesus. But the next thing that happens is that your desires begin to change. So the things that you loved before, the horrible, terrible things that you loved doing before, now you're different. Your conscience is a lot more sensitive. And so there's a passage in 1 John that says, no one who lives in him keeps on sinning. Rather, he cannot sin because God's seed remains in him. And John isn't saying you literally cannot sin. What it means is you can no longer sin with this carefree attitude that you had before, because now you're connected to a person. And so if I love Sori, I don't want to do the things that hurt her. And I know that she's unavoidable. I'm going to talk to her because she lives with me. So there's things that I would never do, not because she would leave me, but because I don't want to see her face ever in that moment. So look, those 4 seconds of pain that she would, that face that I would see if I ever betrayed her, I don't ever want to see that. So it's a force of love that is dictating I'm not thinking to myself, oh, if I did this, Sori would leave me. That's not what keeps me away from those things. What keeps me away from those things is I don't want to hurt somebody that I love. And so if Jesus is who he said he was and did what he said he did, then I don't want to ever run into him or feel him talking to me and be hurt. So
that's true.
That is what motivates you after you become a Christian, right? A person who says, oh, Jesus died, I can do whatever I want, doesn't know him. Because if you knew him, you wouldn't be able to do that. What's up, Anna? What's up to all my agnostic friends coming through in the clutch?
I don't know what that is. Omnipotence paradox?
Finn, have you ever read? I think somebody was talking about Hammurabi.
Everything's going fast right there.
Did Jesus get...
ever get pissed off? I heard he never got angry. No, it's not true.
No, Jesus
He
got
did
angry.
get mad.
He got angry. He also got tired of people. How long am I going to have to bear with you? Yeah, he got angry. Nobody created God. He's the uncaused first cause, man.
Any new info on atheist debate or movie reviews?
Tumba atheist debate. Are you talking about my discussion with Aaron Ra? Yes, Scorn. I agree with you. What's up, Ahmad? Salam alaikum.
I think I read somewhere that Jesus used guns to defeat the Romans. What? Not important. Are you joking?
He's joking.
What's your take on Noah's Ark and the fact that it's being preached as fact?
Well,
Then
it's I believe it. It's a fact for sure. For sure. Every major culture, religious or not, has a flood story. So do what you will with that. You know, Aaron Ross says that it's because there was a flood in Iraq, but that doesn't explain how every culture literally on the planet has a flood story. If it was just a little localized flood in Iraq, I would definitely expect it to be located around the A&E. That's what you would expect. But for some reason, we have a global memory of a flood. So, to me, that you know, it's funny what people do with data, because people say everybody has a flood story. It's not real.
instead of saying everybody has a flood story, maybe it's real.
Okay. Was Moses a founding father? No, Moses was not a founding father. God almighty.
Sometimes it sounds like I'm typing a book, but it's just because I keep making mistakes.
Name these cultures. Mandarin cultures, Indian cultures, African cultures. You know, Aaron Ra was talking to me about the African one where it was a flood of beer. That was funny.
Have you told me that before?
Yeah, I did, but you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't remember it when we were in
You didn't believe me. And then the atheist tells you, then you believe it.
I was like, what?
No, Matt, it doesn't prove that an ark existed. It doesn't disprove it either. I want a flood of beer. Do I believe the Septuagint is better than the Masoretic text? Do I believe the Septuagint is better than Masoretic text? Well, look, the Septuagint was quoted about 85% in the New Testament more than the Masoretic. So I have both, and I go back and forth.
I have a minor flood of beer going in my throat right now.
What'd you say?
Somebody said I have a minor flood of beer going into my throat right now.
That's really interesting. What do you think of the overuse of the word God, especially so much in the English Bible? The etymology is from the German Gott. Yeah, I actually use that argument because when I say Allah, people go crazy and they go, "Oh, you're trying to combine Christianity and Islam," which of course, Allah is simply the Arabic term for God, and it's much closer linguistically than Gott. Because Gott is German, and it's got pagan roots. At least Allah has Aramaic roots. So yeah, it's interesting to me. I mean, look, the language is an ever evolving enterprise, and so you know, I'm cool with whatever word a given culture uses for the divine being.
Have we done a Linkin Park song?
No, we haven't done any Linkin Park song.
I didn't think so.
Linkin Park is lame. I mean,
You're lucky then.
Linkin Park, I mean, they were kind of poppy. Not very heavy.
What's the similarity between Horace and Jesus? What's all that about? Man, I stuck my water in the freezer and ice almost on the top, so I drilled a little hole and I'm trying to dip it without it slapping me in the face. No, we didn't have the Satanic Bible discussion. We've been just trying to get things like... Are we supposed to be... We're supposed to be starting it this week or next week?
What, the Satanic discussion?
Yeah. What's the next movie review? Well, we're supposed to be watching the second part of Hellraiser. But I don't know. Oh, we're changing now. Have you heard of this? The atheist argument about the eye parasite?
Okay. It's about Christians stealing from Egyptians. So let's go through this exercise. Okay, trust no one today. Give me some examples of Christians stealing from Egyptians.
Bring me the memes. Remember me when you make it big. Bring me the memes. We don't even know your name or your face.
Make it big. We're not gonna do anything big. We're not big. Ah.
We'll make it big.
You guys are just infants in metal. That's true. We are. Hellraiser made me go to sleep.
Have you seen The Village? No, is it creepy? Sounds creepy.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, isn't it? Hey, New West Ed. Glad you found us, buddy. They stole King Tut's coffin. Okay. Ray Gonzalez, tell me some of these things that we stole. A Mason friend tells me Egypt didn't exist. Huh? You will be huge. I know, Tumba. I'm waiting. You know what's interesting is Aaron Ra never said any of the Horus Osiris stuff. I had a conversation with Seth Andrews, and he brought that stuff up, and I helped him unlearn some of the things that he was saying, and he retracted them.
What do you think about stories of stigmata happening to normal people?
I don't really have an opinion on that. Hail from the cursed land of Turkey.
I think it's really strange. Mustafa. And whenever my family member tells me about it, I feel very uncomfortable.
Love all your metal inquiries. Enjoy your take on it. Come to Canada. It's very possible that we could go to Canada very soon.
Bye, Matthew Winter.
Our Facebook page is facebook.com/Vin and Sori. And then you can hit us up at vinandsori@gmail.com.
The internet is powerful. This channel proves it. Imagine if Jesus had the internet.
Very good point. Internet is extremely powerful. Dance of Death from Iron Maiden. Yes, we will be listening to that. Thank you, Mr. Alistair Sin. Bigfoot, real or fake? I don't really know. I don't really know much about Bigfoot.
I thought it was completely not true. Is there a possibility it's true? Hey, from Mexico.
Is it true the nails went into his wrists and not his hands? Yeah, I mean, it'd be most likely to be true because if it went through the palms, then the nails would have went through his hands and he wouldn't have been able to be suspended. But the wrists, the bones would lock around the nail and it would keep it intact.
Callie, then please talk about the God That Wasn't There documentary. It makes some good points, but seem to know more about it or how it's incorrect. But you seem to know, so maybe I need glasses.
Well, yeah, the God That Wasn't There, and then there's another one, Zeitgeist. I might do an actual podcast about that.
I think so.
The first real podcast we're going to be publishing is the Aaron Ra discussion. It's a two-parter. Most Christians are. I'm impressed with your Bible knowledge. Thanks. Yeah, Aaron Ross said that too. It's kind of a weird thing.
No, Jesus wasn't gay. I never know when these questions are serious. He didn't act
with you,
out on any
Falling
of his
Doves.
sexual inclinations.
Like which ones, Ray? Ice cream. Ben and Jerry's has this ice cream called creme brulee that I
You can never get.
I can never get. But I love it.
Haagen-Dazs, there's nothing better than Haagen-Dazs. Their coffee and their strawberry is friggin' unbelievable.
Really? Is that how you... I used to pronounce it Haagen-Dazs.
Oh. I think you're wrong. Is your refrigerator running? Then
Thanks,
you better
Kevin.
catch it.
Our refrigerator actually
No,
sucks,
it's
to be honest with you.
everything in this apartment
Like
sucks.
this, I just got this, and it's warm as... And it's disgusting. Creme brulee is awesome. Do you find apologetics to be a fruitless endeavor? I don't know. I think it depends on the presupposition of the person you're asking. I think that, you know, if a person wants to be convinced, they can be convinced. If a person doesn't want to be convinced at all, they will never be convinced by anything. And I also think there are people that are kind of like free agents, and I think apologetics works for 2 out of 3 of those people. Ever heard of a band called Ghost? I think I've heard of a band called Ghost. I think I've reviewed 2 or 3 of their songs, so yes. I have heard of a band called
Pineapple
Ghost.
on pizza. That's disgusting.
I'm with it. That's actually the first pizza I had was pineapple on pizza.
You like it?
Yeah, it's
What's
great.
wrong with you? I passed out half the pizza.
Warm as hell, yes. Good night, Zap. Almost 2 in the morning. Have a good one. Combine that with Horace. Okay. Trust, do me a favor and get me these sources.
Ugh. At least you don't have rats in a 4-foot rat snake.
Ray, where did Paul ever mention Tammuz? Jeremiah mentions Tammuz. And people weeping for Tammuz. Where did Paul mention Tammuz? Do I think Jesus was married? No, I don't think Jesus was married. Yes, we are reacting to Decibel Omega. Okay, Ivan, what about Horace? And please get me your sources. Sources are very important. And no, Zeitgeist on YouTube is not a source. Britannica is a good source. Things like that.
Yes, Markel, we're married. Newly married. We got married at the beginning of March.
You have a platypus? Not a platypus.
What? Jesus was married.
To the church. He's probably going to say to the church. I don't know.
Mary Magdalene, people are saying.
Yeah, Decibel Omega. Ben, what's the Decibel Omega song we have to do again? Jesus is missing years. I'm actually pretty upset that we don't have a lot of literature on Jesus is missing years. It's pretty upsetting, to be honest with you. Do I listen to Christian metal? Sometimes.
I always want to know what happened to Joseph, his dad. Well, his earthly dad.
Pineapple pizza is a sin. This word stolen is
What's
amazing.
up, Vlad?
This is amazing. Christmas. I'm not really a big fan of Christmas. Sori's a big fan of Christmas.
I love Christmas.
Easter.
Although now sad things have happened in my life and I'm a little bit worried about Christmas if I'm going to be, feel depressed.
opinion, the mentality of to go against the church is to go against God. I mean, it depends which church. It depends on what the situation is. So, you know, the church in Germany was dead wrong on how they handled the Holocaust. The church in Germany should have stood up against the Holocaust and said, bullshit, we're not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
The church in England with William Wilberforce, when he was saying we need to stop slavery, in that sense, the church was right, and to go against the church would have been to go against God. So it just depends on whether or not the church is doing what we're supposed to do. If we're going along with the culture and doing all the shit the culture's telling us we're supposed to do, then, you know, forget it. But if we're, you know, like Telemachus, I think, was the name of the saint who jumped in the middle of the arena because these gladiators were killing each other, and he said, stop it. He was right, you know, and he paid the price for it, too. So, I mean, it just depends. Yes, I did look up Norse mythology. Somebody actually hit me up with some talks on Norse mythology, so I'm extremely excited about that. Which came first, Islam or Christianity? I agree, big beige bastard. You should have been here. Well, I mean, anybody will tell you that Christianity predates Islam by about 6 centuries.
Screenshot my icon and username, LOL. Bring the memes.
Many people would have been killed if the church in Germany would have resisted the Nazis. Well, the thing is, many people were killed regardless. We need to be... our job is not to preserve our own lives. Our job is to speak for those who are voiceless. And at the time, the Jews were voiceless, and we stayed silent. And I think that that was wrong. And notice I said we, because even though I wasn't alive and I'm not German, I'm still part of the Christian church. So when we're awesome, I'm going to claim that. And when we suck, I'm going to claim that. So there you go. I hate Thanksgiving.
Right here, Corey. Are tattoos and piercings a major sin? I think the Bible says somewhere not to mark the body. It's a temple.
In Leviticus, it says, don't tattoo yourselves or make marks on your skin for the dead. Mm-hmm. So it was a pagan practice of cutting the flesh and then putting ink in there as to commemorate the dead. A lot of it had to do with fear of the dead. So the context of the passage is a ritualistic tattooing. Mark Driscoll made the argument that Jesus has a tattoo in Revelation because it says
it's true,
on his thigh is written, you know, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So it says it's on his thigh.
Right.
It's written. So
interesting.
He's got a tattoo. Have you listened to Striper? We have not listened to Striper yet. The website looks great. Thanks. I'm trying to avoid Striper with everything in me.
Why?
So I'm trying.
Why?
I don't know. It's just corny. But you know what? I literally have. This is me and my biases again because I've never actually listened to a Striper song. Someone said they've heard Muslims claim that they came before Christianity. That's why that's how the Muslim thought, because even Muhammad knew about the people of the book and the Christians. Yeah, I mean, Muhammad saw himself as a continuation, as a continuum, as the last of the continuum of the prophets. So he's like the final prophet, and that implies that there are people before him. So I don't know. I'm just speaking historically here. Muhammad came, in the 6th century. I mean, that's fact. Why do you go by the New Testament instead of the Old Testament? Isn't that sacrilegious to God's words? I don't do that. Somebody asked me about Noah's flood. I said that happened. I quoted Leviticus, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's lots of stuff in the Old Testament I go to. I think you need to be a little bit more, define that a little bit better. Thoughts on racist people using the Bible for racist, meanings. Again, the Bible is pretty clear that, that we're all image bearers of God. And so to deny the image of God in another person for whatever reason is to do harm to yourself. So if you're trying to use the Bible for that, I need to know, specifics. Animals taste awesome. Yes, they do.
Well, it's because they asked if we would ever be vegetarians. And I said, I used to be a vegetarian. And then somebody said that we should be vegan because animals are cool. And then,
what's your favorite metal subgenre? New metal. I like the simple drop D, dun, dun, riffs that you can come up with in 2 minutes, and I like that stuff. It's a simple question too. What simple question?
I don't know.
He said it's a simple question I have no answer to. Ask your question again, Ron. If you could meet, what would be the first thing you would ask him? Probably why he loves me so much. Because all my life he's chased me down. True story.
I think I would say, why did I have such a hard time believing how much you loved me?
That's a good one. Could you make an argument that ham proves that dark-skinned people are cursed?
It's so easy to be vegetarian. You just supplement with bacon, steak, and chicken, and you'll be fine.
Parkway Drive. We do need to do Parkway Drive. A Muslim told me that Islam means following God or something like that. So because Abraham was following God, he was a Muslim. Therefore, Islam was a... okay. Yeah. All right. I see what you're saying. Will you ever dabble... how did Noah get to the polar bears and the penguins? This is supposedly the difficult question that we couldn't answer.
Seriously?
Well, I'm being serious here. The scripture says that God brought the animals to Noah. So, furthermore, there's nothing saying that regular bears can evolve or adapt to their environment. So, it's really not a problem. Look, if you assume Genesis 1:1, then nothing in the Bible is difficult to believe.
Exactly.
If God spoke, ex nihilo, if he created the world by words, and if he's that powerful, how would polar bears and all that limit his ability?
Exactly.
I just don't understand that logic. So I didn't mean to be, daft, but I mean, that's not really a difficult question for us. Sorry.
Okay, this is a good one. Since God created Lucifer, God knowingly created him and programmed him to be evil. Like, since God knows everything, why create Lucifer?
Well, I agree with about 80% of what you said. No, Chaos Theory, I don't think Genesis is allegorical. Hades, I agree with almost everything you said. I don't see anywhere in the passage where it says that God programmed Lucifer to be evil. But I do agree with you that it is troubling that he created Lucifer knowing that Lucifer would fall. Like I said, I have a sort of meta-narrative sort of idea of the world. And the idea is that God is writing a story. And as you know, with any story or any movie, you need a bad guy. And so God kind of created Lucifer knowing he'd fall so that he could display things about his nature that otherwise we wouldn't see without him.
Here's another one. Couldn't God just recreate the animals after the flood? Why the need for an ark? Maybe it was to keep Noah busy during that time, taking care of the animals so he wouldn't go stir crazy.
No, I think that it says something about the personality of God in that he's got an original creation, and even though there had to be a do-over, he never wipes the slate clean totally. Mm-hmm. Does God love Lucifer? Yes, absolutely. We use the ESV, the English Standard Version. Mm-hmm. Any opinion on the Jesuit conspiracy? Yeah, I think if the Jesuit conspiracy was real, that all the stuff that you hear about the Catholic Church and the priest scandals and all that would have never come to light.
Good thing that Noah's Ark didn't happen. If it did, that would mean that God exists and he's a psycho. He killed millions of innocent sentient beings unnecessarily.
Well, Ellie, E-L-Y, are you an atheist?
The unicorns forgot to get on the ark. How do you know?
Okay, so Ellie, where's your basis for saying it's immoral to kill sentient beings? It seems to me that you think sentient beings are valuable. Where do they get their value from?
Vin, have you heard of the atheist parasite argument? Stephen Fry said he would bring it up if he died, and it turned out God was real.
Never heard of the parasite argument, Tumba. Explain it to me. I don't believe there's a literal burning hell forever. I know that Dan O'Connell, but open theism to me creates a whole bunch of other problems. Creates way more problems than it solves. Lucifer wins over so many more people than God in the end. No, Ben, I don't believe that happens. Yeah, well, Ben, if Lucifer won more people than God did in the end, then yeah, it would be. But the Bible says that the opposite will happen. So, if aliens came to the earth tomorrow, I don't know how the religions would react. I feel like a lot of the majors would be able to handle that theologically without much of a problem. Yes, KZ, we've touched on it multiple times about Jeff Sessions.
Prothemish Avaska, I don't know. What gives your life value, Vin, since you are a sentient being?
Oh, well, that's easy from my perspective. We're image bearers of God, so whether or not I'm sentient, just the very fact of me being human gives me value. I was asking one of my atheist friends because they seem to imply that sentient beings have some sort of inherent value, and I'm waiting for the answer as to why that is. Yeah, Thor, I do think that was a major part of it.
There's a parasite that can only survive in the eye of children. Why would God create such a creature that would cause so much suffering? It happens in Africa. Just paraphrasing here. Tumba says that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's really that difficult of a question. The answer to why God would do that is that we're in a fallen world, and because of sin, there's all manner. I mean, look, from a biblical perspective, people worry about the flood and saying God killed all those people. Mm-hmm. I mean, from a biblical perspective, God takes everybody out because death is a consequence of sin. From a biblical perspective, death is not a natural process. Death is what happens because of sin. So until the curse is lifted, these things are going to continue to happen, which is why Jesus' death on the cross is so important, because and his resurrection, because it guarantees a new world in which none of that stuff is going to happen. For now, we have to deal with eye parasites and death and cancer in 12-year-olds and cancer in 50-year-olds and all these horrible things, because God is saying this is how bad sin is. If you lived in a world where everything was perfect, but we sinned all over the place, none of us would really truly understand the weight of sin, because we're selfish creatures who generally don't care about God. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to see, this is not our world, this is God's world. And he's constructed the universe in such a way that he's the creator. And so we've got to see the weight of what sin actually does. There is rest for that child, and there is an ultimate good purpose that God has. And the reason, here's the thing, if I didn't have the crucifixion, then that would all just be philosophy to me. But the fact that I have a crucifixion to look at, to where God says, people say everything happens for a reason, even in bad things. And God says, okay, I'm going to come down here and become one of you and endure the worst thing possible. I mean, we get our word excruciating from the word crucifixion. Mm-hmm. And so Jesus says, I'm going to take the worst of what can happen to a person onto myself to join in the effects of sin on you guys, so that I can show you that I'm going to change everything. But we've got to take own up to the fact that when you have the eye parasite issue, we are spending billions of dollars on war, on a whole bunch of things. We're channeling a lot of money and energy. The pornography industry is in the billions. Planned Parenthood is in the multi-millions, close to billions. So we are investing money and energy into a lot of destructive things, instead of saying, let's take those trillions of dollars and fix that problem in Africa.
Right.
because God is the one that gave us the minds and the means to do that, and we don't do that, and then we want to turn around and blame God for it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's not a difficult question historically for Christians to answer.
Findo says, how do you determine if your beliefs are true and not just a cultural construct?
Such a good question. One of them is to look at your ideology and say, has your ideology ever run against the cultural construct? And I think authentic Christianity always does that. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why you can get on TV and completely mock Christians and it'll be completely okay. We're one of the few groups in the Western world that you can completely mock, laugh at.
Yep.
And everybody will laugh along with you. And I think that says something. I reject the Savior from sin because I don't think I've done anything wrong. I'm not sure. I think there's a person named ELY, and we're having a discussion about ontology. So if you can find what he or she says, that'd be great. I don't think I've ever met a person who says they've never done anything wrong. Ben, are you contending that like you're a perfect human being, like you've never done a wrong thing in your life?
ELY.
No, if he or she comes up again, just let me know. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Ben said he.
Right there.
Oh, there it is. We're not doing all that war and stuff. There are babies that are born with cancer, innocent babies. I still haven't heard a good explanation for that. Well, ELY, I was asking you about why you believe sentient beings are valuable, because you seem to have been indicting God for killing a bunch of innocent people, which of course the text doesn't say God killed any innocent people, but why is killing innocent people wrong from an atheist perspective? Yeah, pizza pasta. I would agree. I think most human beings would admit that they're screwed up, but I must have misinterpreted Ben, because it couldn't be that he's saying that he's never done anything wrong in his life.
No one could do anything worthy of eternal punishment. Did you see that one already?
I don't know how you can make that determination. Who says? Because you said that? It's real? I think you're conflating wrong with evil. I don't think evil exists. What I'm saying is nothing I've done has been out of malice, not that I've made every correct decision. I don't agree with that either. I don't believe that you've never done anything out of malice. I just don't believe that. I don't believe in a burning hell. Because you don't have to be religious to not want to kill innocent people. I know that, Troy, but that's not my question. Well, my perspective, Ellie, is that human beings are inherently valuable because they're created in the image and likeness of God. So what that means is that they are representatives of God on the earth. And because God is the supreme being, to violate, to kill another human being would be that means that in my heart I hate God, because to kill you means that I'm in effect killing God in effigy. To disrespect you would be to disrespect God. To dishonor you would be to dishonor God. Furthermore, you reflect God in a unique way that's never been done before and will never be repeated again. And so when I meet another human being, I am seeing God in a way that I've never seen before. And so that's where human beings get their value, not what they can contribute to society, not because they're all their mental faculties are in order, not because they're developed at a certain age, just due to the fact that they are an image bearer of God. That's where they get their value. No, I'm not saying that I know you more than you do, Ben. What I'm saying is you made a statement about yourself that I just don't believe. And I talk a lot about self-awareness. I don't know how old you are, but to say you've never done anything with malice in your life, to me is just a credulous statement. And whether or not you've done that is between you and God. I'm just saying. Well, Matt, I completely understand why that would fracture your relationship with God, and I cannot imagine. I mean, the minute I found out that we were pregnant, it immediately became my greatest fear. Losing my child immediately became my greatest fear. So I can't. I hate when people say, "Oh, this terrible thing happened in your life. Here's the explanation." Mm-hmm. It just sucks, and that's where you are with God, and I understand why you'd be in that place with God. It's a fear of mine. Honestly, I don't even want to. It's something that pops into my head every day, and I get rid of it partly because I'm afraid to lose my kid, but partly also because I don't know what that would do to me and God. So I don't try to think about it. I just hope and pray that I'm never in that situation.
Big beige bastard. You're a cool couple. Thanks.
Yeah, Ron, you'd have more luck sending that to me in email.
Good night, Troy Lightfoot.
Best couple ever. Aw, thank you very much. Kevin, I think Christmas is a more satanic holiday than Halloween because of our worship of materialism. Just put it that way. At least in Halloween, people are buying stuff to give away to other people.
That's true.
I mean, it's a form of charity, right?
Oh my gosh, you're
Christmas,
right.
there's a lot of me. Halloween, at least people are saying hey and recognizing that children should be honored and all the rest of it. So, yeah, Dan, if we're ever in town, we'll definitely have a double date with you for sure.
I changed the battery on that stupid thing. It's worse than ever.
I know.
What the heck?
I know. Somebody asked if we're image bearers of God, how come we're perfect as God's perfect? Well, we're broken images. Right. Sin broke that image. And so that's part of Jesus's mission, right? Was to come back, reflect God perfectly the way we should have. I've always said that Jesus is the only true human, and so a lot of what Christianity is a reclamation project of human beings and constantly learning what it means to be human. Because when people do evil things, they're not being their true self. I don't believe that people are being their true self when they're doing evil. I think they're being their true self when they're doing good, because that reflects God's image.
So glad I stumbled on Jabin Thomas. So glad I stumbled on this channel. I don't agree with everything you said, but you have some great insights. So many people say that. No, nobody's pressing the stupid test button on the smoke detector. It's been doing that. You need to call the landlord. There's so many problems in this apartment.
It'll be posted everywhere. Patreon, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, on the website. It'll be all over the place. I'll let you guys know for sure. Prayer is either futile or redundant. I think that's a false dilemma, Jesus. Prayer could also be the means by which a transcendent God works in an immanent universe. So God uses means, and prayer is one of God's favorite means. Mm-hmm. It's because Sori's smoking hot. I heard when people are talking about God, the devil has to go outside. Is that true? No, that is not true. That's a very interesting question, Kay said. I don't know. Why do so many Hispanic cultures name their kids Jesus, but like English-speaking cultures won't? That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, we've heard of Silent Planet. We are going to do a Silent Planet song soon. Did I believe that Earth was going to end in the year 2000, Y2K? You did. Sorry, dude.
I will tell you the truth. I wanted something to happen so badly, and I was so disappointed when it didn't. My family did the whole, setting the food aside and having plenty of water and all that stuff. Yeah, they went to town with it. Like, a lot of my family
I was in
did.
Times Square in 2000.
We were watching the ball drop on the TV for us, and I was like, it's going to happen, and then nothing. I'm like, not even a flicker? No, not even the lights aren't even going to flicker? I was looking for some entertainment.
I thought it was a clever name too. Well, Zeus, again, God uses means. This is called means of grace. And so what that means is God doesn't need anybody to accomplish anything because he's omnipotent. But he does it because it's a relational issue. A lot of people are looking at prayer from a utilitarian perspective, which is doing something to get something done. When when a mother takes a child in and says, help me with the dishes or help me cook, the mother doesn't need the child's help. She's doing it because she just wants the relationship and the feeling of partnership that the little child gets with the mother when the cake is done and everybody's eating. And the mom looks across the table and winks at the child because the child went, whoa, I took part in that. That's what prayer is. Prayer is us as little children in God's kind of workshop. And he's saying, hey, help with this. Not because he needs it, but just another way to solidify the relationship. God's plan was always to have us partner with him in working in the world. And that's what prayer is. It's not about utility, it's about relationship. Muslims name their children Muhammad. Yeah, we've got a guy here, and his name is Muhammad. So Muslims love Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They love him, and I can see why. I've listened to Muhammad's biographies. He was an incredibly dynamic, amazing person. He's one of the top 3 people I'd love to meet if I could.
One thing is funny, and Jesse says, my actual name is Jesus. I'm Hispanic, and I'd like to know why also. Shoot, there was something else that caught my eye. Damn it.
Somebody has a book.
Yeah. Ray Gonzalez.
Ooh, my girlfriend wants to name one of our kids Isa, the Arabic name for Jesus. Yes, that is an awesome name. The world was supposed to end it in 2000.
Right here, this. The Bible reads, anybody who talks to the Spirit must be stoned to death, LOL. I don't know where.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you have to source that. Concert Matrix Reloaded.
The mother isn't omnipotent. Well, I mean, that's why analogies are analogies. I said that God is omnipotent. The point, though, is prayer is not presented in the Scripture as a utilitarian exercise. Prayer is an exercise to build a relationship. And so that's why God uses prayer to work in the world. I was named after the Barry Manilow song Mandy. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Leviticus 21:27.
How long do you think we have left of humanity, the species of humanity? I actually have a very optimistic view of the future. I think the best days are ahead of us, man. Or ma'am. I really do. I'll let her know you approve of the name of Isa. Good. I'm glad. I can stay home from church after coming here. Oh gosh. That's terrible.
Don't do that. Leviticus 20 what?
We need chaos theory. I agree, and I think you'll see that when I post the discussions with Aaron Ra. I think you get a kick out of Pucifer. Yes, I hope so. Will God ever save Lucifer? That's so interesting. Sori and I were having this question in Chipotle about God saving Lucifer because there's actually a church. There's a figure in church history who believed that would happen. Have you heard of the death metal band Macabre? Yes, I've heard of them. Haven't been able to listen to them yet.
A man or a woman who is a medium or a necromancer shall surely be put to death. They shall be stoned with stones. Their blood shall be upon them.
I have a biblical name, Benjamin. That was the source of the name. Kind of ironic that I turned out an atheist. Well, you're not done yet, Ben, so we'll see.
You can explain that first.
Lucifer maybe craves forgiveness. I don't think he does. If he did, is weed a problem? I think too much weed is a problem.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night.
Cassandra, yeah, we got to talk soon.
Are you going to do that first, the Leviticus one? Stolen the necromancer.
Hold on, I'm in like 3 different conversations.
Oh.
I mean, you go for it if you want to.
I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
Well, there's no answer. I mean, what's the question?
Did they have to stone them? Yes, they did.
Well, yeah, that's what it says. It says stone the necromancer. When do you think evangelicals finally move past substitution and finally return to Christus Victor? I don't really see a contradiction between penal substitution and Christus Victor. I think we should have both. I think there are. I don't even think the governmental idea of the atonement. I don't understand why we have to choose. I think all of them. I think there are many different facets to the cross, and I think we should embrace all of it. I think that's true maturity. Oh, that's a good question. When did you find out that Finn was a metalhead, and what were your initial thoughts? Okay,
he was wearing a corn shirt, and he was playing basketball, and I showed up in a church wearing a corn shirt. I was like, I saw him doing that, and I was like, that is not good. And I was genuinely concerned for him.
Oh, yeah, you thought something was wrong with me. I was rocking that corn shirt.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck? And then you told me that you had like some smiley face shirt that had...
It said, I hate you. Is that yellow smiley guy? I wish I could have... I had a dream that I wore that shirt again.
And when you told me you had that, I'm like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, Dan. I mean, I agree. I think there's a lot of, I'm not sure about the ransom to Satan view, but I think there's a lot of different theories of atonement that I'm not going to choose between because I think they're all awesome.
Good night.
That was so corny. Get it? It was so corny with the K. Don't know the story of Far Cry 5. I kind of blame Korn for making shitty new metal a thing. Also, they stole one from Morbid Angel's wrist without credit. Yeah, I mean, Korn, it was so easy to copy, though. Like, you couldn't copy Master or Puppets because it was just so, but Korn was so easy.
Oh, yeah, we watched all the Game of Thrones.
I agree, Hawkins. You're absolutely right. He got kicked out of church for wearing a Linkin Park shirt.
Are you serious?
What is happening?
What kind of church was it?
Jesus invented weed. I agree with that. Same with me. New metal or not, Korn was my introduction to metal. I agree.
I don't believe the Satan in the book of Job is the same character as the serpent in the garden.
Yeah. I mean, I
disagree with you, but...
The only good song Korn ever made were Day. What are you talking about? Got the Life? I love that song. Sorry saved you, Vin. How did you break the ice? Because we were both opposites. What happened? Was it the Bible?
Yeah.
She was surprised that a black kid could know the Bible.
I was surprised that anybody could know the Bible like you did. And you weren't scared by questions, so I could ask you any questions I wanted.
Yeah, questions didn't scare me, so...
That was cool.
I was a big idea machine for her, pretty much.
Yep. And then you were my knight in shining armor. Then you asked me to marry you, and I said yes.
What reason do we have to believe that the serpent and the Satan... no, I mean, the serpent's called the Nachash. Satan in Job 1 is not called the Nakash at all. He's just one of the Benai Elohim, and he just... So, no, you don't have to say that it was like the devil, Lucifer, whatever. So, I agree.
Oh, wow. Would love to see you two react to Nine Inch Nails' terrible lie about the loss of religion and heresy. Kind of an atheist anthem.
Yeah, we've got to do Nine Inch Nails very, 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 very soon. We've got 10 minutes left, guys. 10 minutes left. We're sweet as a couple. Aw. This guy posted this a lot. Here, a lot of the Finnish pagan traditions were blended in Christianity, and some old gods were demonized by the church. Wasn't Satan an old god of fertility or something? Well, the word Satan, Hasatan, in Hebrew, just means opposer. And there's actually one passage where God himself is labeled as Hasatan to this guy. So I don't know about Satan being a fertility god. But yeah, Christians do that a lot. You know, we go into a country and, you know, take over their stuff and say, okay, these gods are okay, these aren't. We'll blend this in and we'll demonize that one. I mean, it happens a lot in Christian. It's happened a lot in Christian history, for sure. Still waiting on your How Ugly Dudes Can Score Hot Chicks ebook. That is coming. Seriously. 9 Inch Nails is overrated. Thanks, Bring Me. We love you too. Yes, I do think definitely. God has a plan for everyone and everything. I do. Still waiting on the Carcass review. Yeah, I need more people to ask for Carcass. Jonathan Davis said that he was a fan of Carcass, and so, but I never listened to them. What do you know about the books that were left out from the Bible? Well, it depends. Are you talking about the intertestamental Jewish books, or are you talking about the Gnostic books?
Well, I agree, big beige bastard.
What?
Who says Vin is ugly? He's a fine man.
Why, thank you. Lemonade or iced tea? Iced tea.
Oh, here we go. Do Carcass.
What's the name of the song? I need a good name for the Carcass song. Ben Webb, help me out, buddy. Sabatoon.
Yeah,
if Eve would have turned away the apple, would God still have sent them out of the garden?
He wasn't going to send them. He didn't, he wouldn't have blocked them out of the garden. But yeah, they were supposed to go out of the garden from the very beginning. That was the plan. But once they did that, then they had to be kept out of the garden so they wouldn't take from the tree that would make them live forever.
Well, remember, the apple thing happened in Genesis 3, right? Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth was in Genesis 1. Mm-hmm. So God already laid out the plan. He said, okay, Eden is Washington, D.C., but you guys need to spread out here. So they were supposed to spread out and cover the whole earth. Well, Eden was just supposed to be the starting point.
Yes, I believe Eve was Adam's first wife. I believe Eve was his only wife.
Well, there's the Lilith thing.
The what?
All the, the Gnostic stuff.
Oh.
Yes, I've read the Babylonian Talmud. I'd still love to, but the only books I find cost a couple of thousands. There's a couple links online for it. Don't listen to the Heartwork people. They don't know what they're saying. A congealed pot of blood is the way to start. Ew. Okay. Yeah, I'm an infralapsarian, Zeus. So yeah. That was part of the plan. I mean, Jesus is called a lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. How many religions have Vin studied? Not many.
Compared to who?
What do you mean?
I mean, I think that you've studied a lot of different
religions. Thanks, the Ace BH. I appreciate it. Yeah, Chaos Theory. Thank you.
What?
Thank you. We wouldn't have the university system without Christianity. Right. What do you think about the concept of the second tree in the Garden of Eden that is not talked about much at all, the tree of life and the beginnings and the beings that guard called the cherubim? A tree of life is interesting because you have you have two options, which is live forever or decide for yourself what right or wrong is. And you would think that living forever is a no-brainer, but Adam and Eve choose to I'm going to decide for myself what right or wrong is. And really, that's always been the question. Like, if you want to live forever, that means God gets to be God. If you want to be God, then you can't live forever. And then the cherubim guard the tree of life. What's interesting is that in Ezekiel, I want to say 14, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call him, Lucifer was called a guardian cherub. And it said you were in the garden of God. So, like, it's a very interesting situation because the class of being or angel that Lucifer was a cherub. And so God sends the other cherubs to guard the garden. What's interesting is at the end of Revelation, the tree of life is opened in the last chapter, and everybody who wants it has access to it again. And that's because Jesus, from our perspective, took the flaming swords of God's wrath. So he took the sword into himself, so that now we have complete access to the tree of life, which is eternal life with God. So the tree of life comes up at the beginning of the book and at the end of the book. It's really very interesting.
Look, Matthew Winter back. I couldn't sleep knowing I was missing you guys. That's cute, right?
Also very Lost in Vegas are Freemasons. I don't think Lost in Vegas are Freemasons. I think they're the best in the business. L'Enfant Sauvage, for goodness sake, please review that one. I will soon. The activation code thing. Yeah, people have been asking about that.
Nope.
Our website guy has been avoiding us like the plague.
He needs a break from us. He's like, oh, every time I talk to them, they make me do more stuff.
I know. Terrible.
The welcome menu on the website isn't working.
What a disaster.
You gotta give us some time, guys. Work out the bugs.
Was it an apple or a pomegranate? It could have been a fig. Could have been a fig. Yeah, Mundry, you're right. I mean, it doesn't definitively say what it was. My assumption is that it's a fig because they covered themselves with fig leaves, but that's just an assumption. How do you know, Vin? You don't know.
Wait, Sop with Snoopy? I figured that activation code out. Well, what the hell is it? Tell us.
Tell us. It was knowledge fruit, right. No, Color Me Rainbow, it really doesn't matter. It was a poison ivy leaf. What's going on, Living on Strings?
Would you say that the Talmud is worth the read?
It's hard. Everything is worth reading to me. So, yes. Sparky and Salty need a friend. Yeah, everybody's like upset about like the fact that it's no longer symmetrical.
Yep. Vin, did you say that you had read the Satanic Bible? That would honestly scare me.
Be like messing with a Ouija board. No, I mean the Satanic Bible is actually very utilitarian. A lot of it is just, not very spooky. No, I'm not anti-LGBTQ.
No, neither am I.
I'm not. Wait
till you see the next review.
She better not be. God Almighty! Oh boy!
It's the tomorrow's. Well, today's underground show.
Well, it's already up on the Patreon site.
Yeah, if you're Patreon, go check it out.
I released the Underground show on the Patreon site early because I thought for sure we were going to get blocked, but we didn't. On Ayn Rand, right. I mean, read Atlas Shrugged and you've pretty much got the Satanic Bible. When's the next Tool reaction? The next Tool reaction is going to be the Enema album review, so that's not going to be for a while. All right, guys. I think... Have you heard about Jordan Peterson? I love Jordan Peterson. I went to sleep last night or this morning. I think it was this morning, 6 o'clock, something like that, on Jordan Peterson's lecture on the flood.
It was both.
No, Ben, please test it. If you leave God, will he leave you? If you leave God, he'll chase you down. I'm telling you this from my personal experience. What is objective truth? Objective truth is truth that transcends human experience, thought, or opinion. Are facts. Let me say it that way. Ultimate realities that transcend humans' thoughts or opinions.
Lots of things still not working on the site. All right, give it some time.
It's new. That's why we haven't. That's why we haven't done the official launch video yet. New metal.
Prog metal.
We just did a Slipknot review. That's coming up soon. Happy Father's Day. Good night. Thank you, Charlie Carroll. Yes, vinandsori@gmail.com. Jordan Peterson is a hacks that makes a lot of weird logical leaps. You can't say he's a hack. He is educated. You can disagree with him. You can't say the guy's a hack.
Peterson's a Freemason for sure.
For sure. Ben, you are prone to hyperbole. He's a hack. Jordan Peterson is a hack. You can't deny that he's educated. Good Lord.
Did you guys see how to get the activation code? It's in the URL from the email you get. 10 minutes, Vincent. I know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm just going to get up and go around the other side of this, and my bed is right there.
Yeah, I don't agree with everything Peterson says, but like I told Aaron Ra, I don't agree with everything I said 2 years ago.
Right.
But I do think that he has some very interesting ideas, and that he's got a lot of wisdom that we should consider. All right, I got the code working. Thanks, Ben, for that. I was literally wondering about that. Okay. Amorphous is coming soon. Yeah, 12 Rules for Life. Very good stuff. Lindsay, when is the Lindsay interview coming? Babe, when are we releasing the Schoolcraft interview to everyone?
I don't know why we're still holding on to it. I think that should be out.
Okay, type 22 if you want us to release the Lindsay Schoolcraft interview from Cradle of Filth.
When? Right now?
Yeah. If I see if we see enough 22s, we'll just release it. We'll just release it
right now.
Oh, nobody wants Schoolcraft.
Nobody's gotten it. Look, I'm not even back on the screen yet.
Oh, there's 2 22s, 3 22s, 4 22s. There have to be 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Although my Patreon's already watched it. All right. We'll release it. You know what?
Thank you, Pasta. 66. He put 666. He doesn't say. Whoa, Kai, that's interesting. That is extremely interesting, Kai. Email me that reference that you just posted from. That's really crazy. I notice you keep ignoring the band Chariot. I guess they're black. 11 times 2. These people are hilarious. I swear.
Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Public. Save. You should have it, folks.
You want to watch a movie after?
Well, it's 2:30. You better close up shop quickly. Because I'm getting tired. I'll watch a movie with you if you end, like, now.
21 plus 1. And I got the notification.
And you're not ending.
Just went up. Do you believe?
Good night.
22. Well, go ahead. End it.
All right.
23 minus 1. 23 minus 1. Vin out.
I don't even know how to end it. this?
Yeah, you